hope everybody's doing well this week. So this week I thought it would be fun to make together a sphere pop-up card. And this is what it looks like. And this is just my prototype. We're gonna do some added stuff to this. But yeah, I thought it would be fun and something different to do. So let's go ahead and get started on it. So the first thing we're going to need to do is create our circles. So how we get our rings is we're going to need a 3-inch ring, and we're going to need a 2 3/4 inch ring, okay? Then we will take a 2 1/4 inch ring on the 3-inch one and put it in the center, and then cut it out, and then we'll have that. And then on the 2 3/4 inch ring, we'll put a 2-inch circle, put it in the center, and cut it out. Okay, you will need a total of 3 of the 3-inch rings and 4 of the 2 3/4 inch rings. Okay, so how we're going to get our notches is we're going to get a sheet of paper, and I would take a line and start in the center. Okay, so draw a line in the middle, and then on each side of this line we're going to measure out from this line 5/8 of an inch, and then draw a line. And then from this line this way, measure out 5/8 of an inch and draw a line. Then what I did for my 2 3/4 inch line, I lined my circle up in the center, and then I just did me some lines so I can kind of get my circles in the same spot. And then I did it for my 3-inch circle where I need to have it lined up. Once you have that, you will take your circle. This is my 3-inch circle, and I'm going to line it up. Feel like I have it in the center. I'm going to take me a piece of tape and tape it down. Okay, then after I do that, you're going to get your ruler, and we're going to mark at the top of the circle. So on the rim of the top and the bottom, we're going to draw a line wrong way, 1/4 of an inch long off of our first line. Okay, and then we'll come down to the bottom and draw a 1/4 inch line, and then do the same on the next line. Actually, you can turn it around and go this way if you want. And when you go this way, it will be just enough over from our line that we made previously. Okay. So that is what my notches look like. Okay, you're gonna do one more of these exactly like this, and then get our last 3-inch ring, if I can get this up. And on that one, line it back up again. we're going to do the same thing, except instead of putting it on the outer edge where we did the notches, we're going to put it on the inner edges. So here and here. So let's do that. It should look like this. And you just need one of these where it's on the inner circle. So 2 that look like this, 1 that looks like that. On the 2 3/4 inch circles, these, you're going to have 2 that looks like this one, and then 2 that looks like this one. Okay? And then once we have all of these cut out, we are going to take a pair of scissors or an X-Acto knife, whichever you would like to use, and we are going to cut the notches out on this. And once you get them all cut out, you should have notches that look like so. Okay? So let's go ahead, and I'm going to give the measurements for each one in Design Space. Okay, so in Design Space, we're going to take our 2 3/4 ring, and we're going to put a 2-inch ring in the middle, and we're going to slice it, and then we'll get this ring here. Do a square and make the square, and it's going to be very small, but 0.044 by 0.25, so 1/4 of an inch. Okay, our first one is going to be 5/8 of an inch, and your Y is going to be at 0.405. And then we'll jump down here and do this one. Same thing, 5/8 of an inch, and then your Y will be at 2.088. And then we're going to jump up to this one, and it's 1 1/4 inch, and then your Y is going to be at 0.117. The bottom one, it's 1 1/4 inch, and your Y is going to be at 2.378. And then back to the top, we're going to put it at 1 7/8 of an inch, and your Y is going to be at 0.231. And again, so now that we have this done, attach everything, and then you're going to duplicate this one time, because we will need a total of 2 of these. Okay. Okay, so now we'll be working for the ones at the top here, okay? So this first one is going to be at 5/8 of an inch, and the Y will be at 0.233. And we'll jump down to the bottom one. It's also 5/8 of an inch, and your Y will be at 2.264. Okay, and then let's go back up to the top. It's at 1 1/4 inch, and your Y will be at 0. And then this bottom one, 1 1/4 inch, and then your Y will be at 2.483. And then our last one over here is going to be at 1 7/8 of an inch, and your Y will be at 0.113. And then we're going to jump down to this one, our last one. It's at 1 7/8 of an inch, and your Y is going to be at 2.383. Okay? And then you'll grab all of this and hit attach, and then you will need another one of these. So a total of 2 of those. Okay. Now let's get our 3-inch ring. And we'll work on the top one here, the ones with their notches in the top. Okay, so you're gonna take your 3-inch ring, and then in the middle, to cut it out, you're gonna take a 2 1/4 inch circle, place it in the middle, center it, and then slice it, and then you'll have this ring. And then we'll take our little bitty square, and the first one we are going to be placing it at 3/4 of an inch, and your Y is going to be at 0.198. And then we'll come down here to this one. It is 3/4 of an inch, and your Y is at 2.528. And our middle one, we're going to put at 1 1/2, and the Y at 0. Then the bottom, it's 1 1/2, and then your Y is going to be at 2.753. And this one is going to be at 2 1/8 of an inch, and then your Y is going to be at 0.156. And then you'll grab all of that and hit attach. Okay, you'll need a second one of this ring. Okay, so 2 of those, and on this one that we're going to do, you will only need 1 of these. But once we have that, get your little bitty square, and our first one is going to be placed at 3/4 of an inch, and then the Y is going to be at 0.378, and this is going to be at 3/4 of an inch, and then your Y will be at 2.38, and then your center one will be at 1 1/2 inch, and your Y will be at 0.117. Then the bottom is 1 1/2 inch, and your Y will be at 2.633. And then this is going to be at 2 1/8 of an inch, and then your Y will be at 0.3. And the bottom is at 2 1/8 of an inch, and your Y will be at 2.455. And then grab it all and hit attach, and you're only going to need 1 of these. And that will be it for our rings. And then what we will need is now, I did double cut my rings. It's not necessary because I wanted my back to be the same color as my front, but you don't have to do that. But if you like, you can. Okay, so our card base is going to be 11 by 6 1/4, and then we're gonna score it in the middle at 5 1/2. And then we'll need 4 pieces of pretty paper, that measures 5 by 5 3/4 of an inch. And then we're also, for the center, you're gonna need some little decorative piece we're gonna put in the middle. And you can use string or fishing line for that. Okay guys, we have one last piece, and it's this piece here. It is 1 inch by 1 1/4 inch. And we're going to be working across the inch side. We're going to take a score line that is 1 inch long, and we're going to place it in the middle at a 1/2 inch. Okay, and then if we're doing this by hand, we're going to take our ruler and go from this corner to our score line and draw a line, and then from this corner to our score line and draw a line. Okay, and these will need to be score lines. Okay, so in design space, this first line on the left hand side that's slanted is going to be 1.044 in height. Your X will be at 0, and then your Y you're going to place at 0.004. Okay, and then for this line on this side, your X is going to be at 0.522, and then your Y will be at 0. And then you'll grab it all and attach it. So now let's go ahead and start putting our card together. I'm going to go ahead and score the card. Okay, and once we have that scored, I'm going to go ahead and place my pretty paper on the and then we should have that done. Now what we can do is get our rings and then the piece we want to put in the center to put together. What we're going to need is our 2 3-inch rings that are cut identical with the matching slots. So once you have that, we're going to get our little piece that we're going to put in the center. I'm doing a little acorn in the center of mine. So you should have 2 of these. Well, I guess you could just do one. I want one where it can be identical on each side and it's going to hide our string, but it's not necessary. So I am going to be using fishing line, and we just need enough to wrap it around. So I'm going to go with, just to be safe, I'm going to say 12 inches. We probably won't even use 12 inches, but better safe than sorry, right? So now that we have this, we can place our string or fishing line, whatever we're using, on to our little pretty piece that we've made. I'm going to use this tape and probably glue too. And And then I have mine centered like so. And then I'm gonna also use glue on mine. What I'm gonna do is in my center one, I'm just gonna loop it around one time and then bring it back up. And then I'm going to take a little piece of tape and stick it down. So that's what I have. I've come over and then I've taped some on this side. This is my front. Okay. And I think I'm just gonna run just a little bit more down here and then cut the rest off. Okay, so I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to twist it around. And then once you have it where you like it, just tape it down. And so that's what mine looks like. Okay. Now we're going to pull this up and then place my back on it. Okay, now that we have our rings, all of our rings, what we're gonna do is go ahead and put this together. So we're going to need our second 3-inch ring. And what we're gonna do is center it on our ring we have here. Okay, so it should look like so. Then once we have that ring on, it doesn't matter which way we start working. Excuse me, just choose a side. I'm gonna go with this side over here, and we'll take one of our smaller rings and we're going to go across it like so, in the center one, and then we're going to go on the center one on the bottom. Okay, now we should have something looking like that. Then we can get another one of our smaller rings and go to this end, and we're still working that center one. Okay, so now we should have 3 rings like so. Now, the fun part is we're just gonna weed these through this other one and connect each section with each part here. So this first one will go on this one, this middle one will go on this middle one, and the last one will go on that one. Okay, so we can go ahead and do that. And they might come out, but you'll be able to put it back in. So we should have something that looks like so. And guys, if you saw me fiddling in the video, because one of mine was like, it wasn't fitting properly. So I just took it off and turned it around the other way, and it fit in there, and now it's moving smoothly. Because we want it to be able to, you know, work properly. So it should be able to lay flat either way we go. Okay. And it can stand up like so. Now what we can do is get our card, and we can put our mechanism in. And this piece we are going to fold, score it on the lines. So let's do that. This is going to go like so. So if you fold this in the center, and then we can get our ends to come up. And it's a small piece, so you gotta kind of be patient and work it. Okay, and once we have, excuse me, that folded, what we're gonna do is cut just about, if you can see, that is how much is left from the end, okay? And what we're gonna do is place this down on our mat, our card base like so. What we'll do is go ahead and glue this on. And what we wanna do is, here's our center score line. So we wanna get that lined up on our middle score line here. Okay, so what you can do is just fold it down once you have it lined up. See how mine's lined up with the fold here? And then once you have it lined up, we can take our glue and just glue on here. Don't glue on this small triangle. We want to do this big area over here. If we have our glue on it, you're going to want to shut your card down on your piece and give it a minute to dry. And if you're using glue, if it's not straight on your score line, you can adjust it to give, to get it lined back up. Okay, so what we can do is fold this side back over. We're not going to glue the little triangle, but we're going to glue this big area right here. And then we should have something that looks like so. Okay. So now what we do is we have to have this on a slant to close like so. Okay, and we can actually use this one, we can get it in both in there, as a diagram. Okay, and what you're going to do is use these two little flaps here that I've pushed up, and we're going to put them in one of our little squares here, one of these squares. Okay. See how if you can see it. No, maybe there. I have it in this first little square on the bottom, this one, and I have part of the V on this side and part of it on this side, and we're just going to tape it to each side. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. And I have mine one side glued, and I'm just gonna make sure it's folding properly. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and put my glue on my other side. And then once I have it, I'm going to give it a shut and then just rub it down again. And there we have it. Isn't that so clever? Now, what we can do is go and decorate. But before I do that, I wanted to demonstrate again so you can kind of get an idea, because I know it's hard to see. So I have this little piece here. Again, you should have a piece that looks like so. I was going to use this piece, but this vinyl is so thick with the cardstock. I changed my mind. So then we're going to cut the slit. So that's about how much I cut. So we have like two little wings here. Do it on this ball so the color will be able to see. When this is down, right, and I'm showing you this way because it'll be easier to see than seeing the bottom. So we're acting like this is the bottom, and we have our two little wings here, right? So once you have this placed down, your wings, these, are going to be glued just like so. One to this flap and one to this flap. Once you have it lined up, and it has to be on an angle. And then, so actually it would be just like this, but this would be sitting inside. Okay, I hope that's easier to understand because I know it's hard to see down in here, so I hope that helps a little. So what we can do now is go ahead and decorate and then come back, okay? Okay guys, this is what I ended up doing with the card that I was making. It says boots, flannels, pumpkin spice, and everything nice. And I just added some boots and pumpkin to the front of it. Then you open it up and it says nuts for fall. And down here is a little place we can write a message. And I just thought this was a neat little fall. It reminded me of fall silhouette. And then of course our little acorn that was already in the middle. And you know, you could do these with acetate and it would be clear. That would be a cool idea. And then of course on the back we just have our pretty paper. So that's it guys. We did it. I just want to say thanks for crafting with me and I'll see you next time. Bye.